Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure for me to be here at the Dubai Edufair with Gulf News. My name is Sophia Anjum, and I shall be your host for the next half an hour to 1 hour. I would like to begin this session with, I would say, a quotation, and it goes something like this: that the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So this isn't just another talk. This is about what it really means to shape the leaders of tomorrow, starting today. But first and foremost, I see a lot of mentors over here. I see a lot of parents over here. I see a lot of children over here. I see a lot of teachers over here. Please give yourselves and each other a huge round of applause. Thank you very much. This session is on empowering the next generation of leaders. It will explore how a learning lab, which is a unique mentoring platform developed by UniHawk, is helping students in the GCC region navigate their future professional journeys. By combining education, leadership development, career exploration, and global experiences, a learning lab is empowering students to make informed decisions about their futures. So joining me is somebody who's not just talking about the future, but actively building it. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that he's quite a rock star and a superstar. So I literally want you guys to roll out the red carpet for him. So please, warmly welcome the founder and CEO of UniHawk and the visionary behind a learning lab. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mr. Varun Jain. Thank you so very much. Where is your mic? Okay, just a second. It was my absolute pleasure. Wonderful to have you over here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations, Gulf News, for putting together such an amazing event. And thank you once again, Sophia. Those were some amazing adjectives. I hope I live up to them.
Well, absolutely, because I told you guys before also that he's quite a rock star also. Please grab a seat. You know, there are so many questions that I have for you, okay, but I'll start off with the first one, which is not on the list.
Sure.
Okay, so you ready for this?
Absolutely.
How did you end up doing what you're doing?
How did I end up? When we talk about learning lab, the lab actually to learn something uh, begins at home.
Correct?
And I think my lab was curated by, of course, my parents, and both of them who actually never went to college. So to me, the first learning that I got was, hey, you got to study. And one thing that my father always told me that never take a decision from the space of fear. So I started taking those decisions and making those bold decisions. And from a small town uh, with little money, wanted to go abroad, do what I wanted to do, didn't want to become an engineer or a doctor. So started taking those initiatives, participated in competitions, debates, writing, and overcame the fear. So when I landed in Singapore as an international student, I started guiding other students. And that's how I realized just by sharing what I went through, just by telling students a little bit about my own journey, I was able to give path to others. And then they got into universities, they got 100% scholarship. And today, when I sit with teenagers who have some massive ideas, their ideas are worth 100 million, $1 billion. Their ideas would change the society, leave amazing social impact. Uh, just want to support them. So it all started as a teenager for myself. And that's how the idea of Learning Lab came that, hey, let us create this lab where teenagers can actually identify the lifestyle they want to lead in the future. Career is a part of my life, it is not my entire life. So I would like to pick a career which is a part of my life which I enjoy. And that's why I guess most of us who are working professionally are here on a Sunday working because we are passionate about it, right?
Absolutely.
So that's how Learning Lab was coined, Sophia.
Absolutely. I love that story. I think it deserves a huge round of applause for sure. Because, we're always talking about the fact that, okay, you know what? If I get that car, It's going to be perfect. If I get that opportunity, that career, my life is going to be set. But you know what? They say something which is very famous, a quotation, that you don't wait for an opportunity, you create it. So you created that opportunity for yourself, and we absolutely love that.
But at the same time, we don't have to put the pressure on ourselves to
Correct.
create that opportunity also.
Uh-huh.
I think let's just keep exploring and just do what your heart tells you to do. It's just that we need to acknowledge that, which we suppress sometimes.
Right, right. I got that. You know, it's very exciting to see that a learning lab is evolving, and you've been talking about that also. And I would like to share a few things later on as well, because I've got some really interesting news. But for now, I want to see that how does it tie into the broader mission of UniHawk, especially for students in the UAE and beyond as well?
So what happens is, I think most of the parents here today are looking for universities, right? They're finding the courses, which university should I go to? What is the right fit for the whole family? Uh, I'm in the last year of my high school, and I just jump into university, and suddenly I get to know that because I have 90% or an A star in my biology and chemistry, I should become a doctor. But I have no idea if I really want to become a doctor. Will I actually enjoy the 5 years of MBBS and then become a junior doctor, then get into MD, and then finally be a specialist at the age of 28, 30, 32? I don't even think about that. So to me, Learning Lab was coined uh, for me as a counselor and now as a father, that I want to give exposure to my children slightly earlier. That, hey, you know what? Life is a lot more than just going to college and doing a degree, right? Also, as parents, we are slightly, the most precious wealth we have is our children. I have two of them, and they're my life, more important than anything else. And then parents are also scared of taking the decision. Should I let go of my child? Will he or she do well in the career, etc.? So to me, Learning Lab is an opportunity for parents to explore while the kids are exploring. It's an opportunity for parents to identify the strengths of their children, actually, the interest of their children. It's a way for us to ignite some amazing dinner table conversation that, hey, dad, I actually just completed this virtual internship with this awesome media professional, and I feel like I want to get into media. I actually just went and did this sneaker project where I'm working with this head of Adidas from Netherlands, who's telling me how can I use AI and analytics to understand the sneaker market. And teenagers are crazy about sneakers anyways, right? And then they will understand, oh, for me to become this, I have to study a little bit of math or stats or data science, etc. Let me pick that career. So yeah, to me, going to university and pushing kids to just build their profile to sake of building the profile, go do internship, go do online course, go do this activity, join MUN, and then suddenly put everything on the application and get into university. It looked a little bit fake to me eventually as a counselor and I've sent a lot of students, guided students who got into Ivy Leagues and got 100% scholarship. But then I was like, no, let's go a little. And these kids are smarter than probably I was at the age of 25 in their teenage, right? So that's why Learning Lab was coined. And that's the vision. Don't build profile to get into university. Explore and identify, and profile will be automatically built to get into university.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I think that also we get to learn and unlearn so many things, like I mentioned at the start also. You mentioned something so beautiful over here. You mentioned yourself as a dad, and you were just beaming with pride in the way that he was talking about himself as a dad. How many parents do we have here? Can we raise some hands? Okay, so it's Mother's Day today, and I would like to give a shout out to all the dads and all the mothers, to all the dads who've been both mothers and fathers and have done the duty of the fathers really well, to all the mothers who have done so many things, given unconditional love. So I have a bit of a wish. Here's to love, here's to laughter, and here's to the children and their parents happily ever after. So happy Mother's Day to all the fathers and to the mothers. You need to clap for your own selves also, you know? It's lovely to have people like you who are role models for their children also. So moving on, you just talked about virtual reality in a way that you talked about so many online courses. So a learning lab offers virtual courses in different fields. For example, you've got business consulting, medicine, law, and entrepreneurship. So how do these courses help students better understand and explore these career paths at an early stage that they have no idea about?
Right. So I think a lot of parents would relate to this. I actually had no idea about what the strategy consulting was until I was maybe 21, 22 years old. What does investment banking mean? What does private equity mean? What is McKinsey, BCG? People talk about all these things. You know, kids come, this company has $1 billion valuation. What does valuation mean? What is the life of a doctor? Uh, do I go to the UK and study in a General Medical Council approved medical school? I want to become a psychologist. And my 7-year-old, a couple of days ago, came to me and he said that
How old are your children?
7 and 11.
7 and 11. Got
Yes.
it.
So my daughter is 11, my son is 7. And he told me that I want to become a psychologist. And I told him to Google it. And he started spelling it with alphabet S instead of P, right? So then, of course, we got into different conversation. But do I really know the life of that psychologist? So what we did is we went ahead and spoke to some psychologists in the UK, in the US, locally, and we told them, hey, will it be possible for you to explain what you do to somebody? I went ahead and spoke to a friend of mine who's a product designer, and my daughter is an artist. She does a lot of art, etc. And I'm like, I want her to understand that she can one day probably become a product designer. Can you explain that to my daughter? Uh, I would probably come to you one day, and I would ask you to explain what do you do to children. So these courses are basically coming from the real world professionals. Some of them enjoy their jobs. Some of them do their jobs really well, even if they don't enjoy. And I want them to come and explain their jobs to the children. So these virtual programs are curated by the professionals who come and share their life experience, day to day schedule, the growth journey. And kids ask these questions.
Yeah.
Hey, will I be able to make money? I mean, I think that's very important to them.
Very
Kids
valid
talk about
question.
kids talk about work life balance, so they ask these questions from that professional.
Mm.
And you said that mentor at home or something
Yes.
like I don't want to be uh, I don't want to
The role
inspire my
model.
children, or I don't want to put pressure on them
Yeah.
of getting inspiration from me. I'm going to call everybody, maybe those 2,000 people who are in my phone book, and tell them to help my child actually,
Mm.
because I want to just father my children. That's it. Yeah. So these courses are delivered by professionals to share their life so that kids can pick what they want to do in the future.
I'm jealous because I belong to a generation that we used to watch Back to the Future. How many of you remember that film, Back to the Future? I'm ancient, so I remember that film. So Back to the Future, I really feel as if I want to go back in time. Okay, and I want to go back in time and take your wisdom over there when I was in school and college and university and have all of that being told to me. I absolutely love it. So, moving on with this, Varun, the Harvard Business and Leadership Bootcamp and the Cambridge Tech Lead Bootcamp are two core programs for a learning lab, correct? So, can you please explain how these programs help students build critical leadership skills while also exploring diverse career paths, which is very relevant?
Um, so, Sophia just mentioned about this program that we have curated in association with Harvard student agencies. And as soon as we hear the name of Harvard, we're like, wow, it's an Ivy League, it's a top name. It would be very expensive to go and study at Harvard. Will I be able to get into that university? When we talk about Oxford, Cambridge in the UK, the same thing. I had multiple, I would say, emotions behind curating this program. One was not everyone is, I'll use the word capable, of going to these universities for various reasons. It could be I don't feel comfortable just flying alone. I don't have enough money to sponsor my child. I might not be able to get into this university. I don't feel the need to go and spend 4 years of my life for undergrad in these universities. So, we thought of curating these short programs and bring those mentors here so that children can get that exposure. Now, The Business and Leadership Camp, in association with Harvard Student Agencies, is all about working with teenagers for the whole day, for that week, to help them curate program, make them understand uh, how it is to work in a team, curate an idea, come up with an idea, structure the idea, and present it to the investors. Then at the same time, the Cambridge Tech Leadership Program, because technology is all over the place, it's a program not only designed for those who want to become computer scientists or AI experts, it's for everybody. Technology is a part and parcel of our life. Even if you have interest in health or cooking, you can become a tech entrepreneur in health tech, right? Or biotech or ed tech.
Conveniently at your doorstep.
Yes, exactly. So we are running these programs across the GCC. There's a program happening in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, and of course, other GCC countries as well. So it was a combination of everything. I wanted to make these programs, these brand names, more accessible and affordable. Um, I did get into Oxford when I was applying to universities, but we couldn't afford to go there as they didn't give me scholarships. So I had to go to Singapore. So we want to make sure kids have access in affordable price. Yeah.
I think that whatever you're doing is absolutely fantastic. And I think that for all the people who are here who are looking forward to such opportunities, this is the right kind of opportunity as well, as we mentioned before on opportunities. So now taking this discourse forward also, Varun, you've also partnered with UK businesses to offer virtual shadowing programs. I love that. So how did these real world experience benefit students, A? And what kind of impact have you seen on their career choices?
Great. So I did mention a few examples earlier, and it's not just the UK, Sophia. We have got experts from the US, Netherlands, Singapore, Germany, Australia, different countries. So the whole idea, once again, was there was a student I helped about, I don't know, back in 2009. She ended up going to one of the top liberal arts colleges in the US, where she studied economics with psychology. She graduated, then she went to Columbia and she did her master's in artificial intelligence. She is crazy about cars. She actually ended up starting a tech company, which she sold back in about, I think, 2018. Currently, she actually runs a manufacturing unit in Turin of some parts of cars, etc. And I told her, hey Ria, can you take out some time and do a project with my students? So these virtual internships are to give exposure to children about, as I said, the real world. Same way, we ended up tying up with somebody from Boston who works with Philips Healthcare, and he is actually the innovation head. So they are actually talking about how to solve the health-related problems. So kids who are interested in that, they can actually join that program. We went to the NHS, which is the National Health Services of the UK, and we told them, can you provide us 5, 6 doctors who can actually do a virtual shadowing with our kids, and these specialists come and tell the children, show them some videos and explain them. Because maybe when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, it's not easy for you to go to a hospital or a clinic or an OT to see the surgery. At least the videos can be watched and they explain that. So these virtual internships, even lawyers actually, we tied up with some law firms, we've tied up with some investment banking firms. We have tied up with some cryptocurrency type of firms, and kids love it. We have so many kids who are now doing drop shipping, launching their businesses. Not everyone gets AAA stars or a 45 in IB or a 95%. There are kids who do well. I used to do well. I grew up in a group of students. My best friend was All India rank 1 in IIT. I'm from Kota, so the friends were like that. So and I used to get scared. I'm like, I'm never going to get AIR1. And I'm like, I don't want that also, right? So I want to make sure these professionals come and motivate children, whether you have 80%, 85%, stretch it to 90. But it's okay if you're not getting 95, you can still do well in life if you're passionate. So when I talk to children as a parent or as a mentor, it's not about go and get the grades. No, run behind the lifestyle that you want to live in the future, right? So these programs would be in association, plus they get the certification. They can put it as a virtual internship on their CV.
Fantastic.
So when they graduate from university as well, their CV is not about just a university degree. There are multiple internships. And these are the people that you will be in touch with on your LinkedIn. you know who to message. So it's just about building your network much earlier in life.
Absolutely. And also, Varun, I feel that the world has changed altogether. And I honestly feel that the kids of today are way smarter than when we were kids, okay?
They're differently
They're
smart.
differently
We
smart.
were also
We
smart.
were also smart, but I do feel that, sometimes when we were at that point of time, right? I mean, it took us a while to kind of grasp the entire situation. That's why I feel that the kids these days are very spot on when it comes to opportunities. Because so many opportunities are provided to them also with, of course, mentors such as yourself. So now let's talk a bit about the overseas tours offered by a learning lab. I mean, I feel that they seem to be like quite unique when you talk about them, for students to gain first-hand global experiences. All right. So, how did these tours help students step out of the comfort zone? A. B. Explore different cultures, universities, and community service opportunities.
Right. Again, I think I keep going back to my personal life. So last year, when my daughter was 9 years old, I motivated her slash pushed her to go to Oxford summer courses where she stayed alone for a week at the age of 9. And my wife thought I was crazy. Uh, I also thought I was a little bit of a crazy father, but we flew down to London, we drove down to Oxford, we dropped her there, and those were the most amazing 6 days actually that she had. We as parents were really worried. So, number one, it was a preparation for us. Number two, she was prepared. I had to convince three of her classmates' parents that let's send the girls together, blah, blah, blah. So, I would say these summer courses, these international tours where kids get to become independent. I mean, even learning how to pack your suitcase and not lose anything, making sure you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
It is scary for the parents also, by
Exactly,
the way.
right?
Yes.
That's one. Two, we ask our children to go and do community services. And we probably, I'm sure some of us or most of us do contribute to the community the way we want to. I thought it would be amazing for me to fly down to Nepal, Tanzania, India once in a year, or maybe once in 2 years, once in 3 years, and that trip for a week, I am living in a community service area where I also go and teach the special needs children or the underprivileged children along with my child and contribute to their lives. There is so much of empathy that actually we can bring in our children by doing that. And it's a holiday for us, right? But it's a holiday not in a five-star hotel, but it's a holiday in uh, I don't know, I don't want to call them challenging situations, in different situations, right? So at UniHawk in Learning Lab, I wanted to curate these experiential tours, which of course take children to NASA, to CERN in Europe. We have tours where kids go to the UK and they visit different universities, but at the same time, they meet different professionals in London and Manchester. Then we have a trip that we have planned to Kenya, Zanzibar, Nepal, uh, Thailand, where kids actually go and work in wildlife sanctuaries. They're actually working in environment space. They're working with special needs children. So yeah, they are very close to, again, my heart. And I feel that uh, it's, I would say, money well invested.
Yes.
And they're very affordable programs, actually.
Absolutely. I think you have given us the best of all the worlds. And that is why I mentioned Back to the Future, because I want to be a kid again and actually grasp that opportunity to do so as well. Okay. But moving on now, the next word is very special to me. It's called mentorship. And I do believe that sometimes if you have mentors in life, you have your life set. Because, sometimes when you feel really down in life, you end up calling those people that you feel will definitely mentor you or get you out of that situation. And I do believe that if you talk about this word in particular, Varun, mentorship is a cornerstone of a learning lab. So, from your experience, how does mentorship help students with their A, self discovery and career planning? And B, when it comes to the fact that they're kind of a little unsure about their future plans? I think she can relate to that. Yes.
Uh, I think the question is very heavy, and instead of talking about what we are doing at Learning Lab in terms of becoming the mentors to students, as I said, the mentorship begins from home. Uh, and I would want each and every parent to come up with a non academic exposure calendar for their child, at least a teenage child. We already know in schools what's happening in term one, term two, term three. We get crazy when the assessments come. We find tuition teachers to help children actually improve their grades. But what have I done to find a mentor in term one to introduce X industry? Now, the gentleman there, maybe he's a banker. Maybe that uncle is an engineer. Maybe this person is a media guy. Maybe this ma'am is a teacher. Have I actually called my friend or spoke to my friend when I met at a social gathering that, listen, I'm sending my boy to you or my girl to you, you have to mentor. So, mentorship is not something that you will find in one place, number one. They will be different. You wanna I went to a regional school. I didn't even speak English until I was 18 years old. I found a mentor in a call center who really helped me improve my language skills, how to talk, how to speak. When I got into this industry, I was stuck with this amazing counselor in Singapore who actually gave me a skill through which I have been able to build a multi-billion dollar edtech business. Like you would not know what actually one can do. There are a couple of kids that we worked with. They found a mentor who actually guided them to build an app which actually helped them become a $4 billion company at the age of 2021. There is a boy who actually studied engineering, but his wife became mentor, who is a very, I would say, who's a cook who cooks healthy food. And today he runs a healthy pizza and pasta company, millet based, no maida, no sugar, nothing, which is over a few hundred million. So you can find mentor anywhere. We are trying to curate a lab within Learning Lab where we are trying to offer some mentorship to you. It won't be all, right? So go and I attended a wedding a few weeks ago, a destination wedding, and I actually went and spoke to those wedding planners. I'm like, oh my god, this is great, and this is more than actually organizing a big event. And I'm like, will you come and curate an event planning program for our students, because it's a fantastic industry, right? So at Learning Lab, we are bringing, Learning Lab is not the mentor. We are curating group of mentors through virtual programs, through virtual internships. Of course, you get certificates out of them, so that becomes a part of that college profile that you need. We take you on international tours. We do programs like the Harvard Business Leadership Program, the Cambridge program, and the projects with top, you know, company innovative leaders. Yeah.
Absolutely. There was a reason why I mentioned it's one of my favorite words, because I feel it's extremely important in life. And I feel that if you could do one thing in life, is to actually spot a mentor, because it's very, very crucial for you.
All of us need a mentor. Even a coach needs a coach.
Yes.
Right? And I guess all the parents, when we have a conflict within the family, we have somebody that we call up to, right?
That's
a
true.
grandparent help us resolve the conflict. So mentorship sounds very heavy, but it's about just sharing your experience and guiding people.
Yes.
And that's the only way for us to, reduce the, or say accelerate the growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me maybe 15 years to start something, but if I share the same experience, I can probably help someone that take away 15 years and start something earlier.
Absolutely.
So mentorship accelerates the growth here.
Correct, correct. Completely agree with you. Now let's talk a little bit about the future as well. Although we've been talking about that non-stop, but strategically speaking, how do you see a learning lab influencing the educational and career development landscape in the GCC region over the next few years? You're laughing about that. You have a solid plan in mind for this.
I don't think I needed a plan. I think what I needed to do is just do what I am doing along with my team. But I already see the change. If we have 100 seats, we are oversubscribed. I see my colleagues within the industry actually now doing things that we started doing a few years ago. So I mean, we do a teen internship fair. Now I see our colleagues actually doing that. I see schools doing that. I see schools actually becoming more open to welcome the non-academic activities in school. So to me, I was not laughing. I was smiling with pleasure that, hey, without thinking about leaving that influence, we are actually influencing the industry around us. And it's eventually helping those students and parents, actually. So, yeah, it is happening now. You will see. Somebody here within the exhibition is offering some AI programs. I saw an email today coming out from GEMS Group where they're organizing an internship fair for students. So it's lovely, and that's what I would say. All the adults who work today, uh, please find at least one mentee and share what you have. You will feel great. Not today, but you will have some stories to share that, I spoke to this kid 6 years ago, 10 years ago, is doing this. And I would say it's fulfilling, especially as we get older. We want to add value. And
Or younger.
sure, why not?
Why not? Thank you so very much for sharing that with us also. But my last question would be a takeaway. Now, we mentioned so many things over here. I'm sure that we got to learn a lot. We got to unlearn a lot of things as well. But if you had to mention, Varun, that one takeaway for everyone to remember when they go back home, they're like, yes, you know what? This thing stands out. What would that takeaway be for today?
Um, I think instead of answering this question as an educational counselor, I would answer it as a human being. Uh, Gratitude and appreciation, right? That's it. Not just towards what we have and not just towards what we see around us, but also towards ourselves, right? If I end up getting C in my exam, uh, have my parents taught me to have gratitude about my amazing communication skills or art skills, you know, self love that they talk about these days. I'm not saying get obsessed and become a narcissist, but that's very, very, very important. If you
Point to be
have that with
noted.
you, right? Like, I know because I'm a father of a daughter, I know girls who are fantastic in putting up makeup. They have amazing knowledge about skincare. There are girls who have hundreds of thousands of followers and they are putting out amazing content, right? I would actually motivate that. But the bottom line is gratitude towards what you know, what you have achieved. And once you start appreciating that and make your children also learn how to appreciate that, they will only get better at that one thing. Second is consistency. Uh, I know it's easier said than done. I don't think I'm still consistent in all the phases, all the parts of my life. But if we can be consistent in that one thing, two things, one by one, it really does help. Last but not the least, I'd like to just add one more is reading. That's something which we should inculcate in our family. Uh, Not children, don't expect them to read if you don't read. And the reading can be digital, it can be through podcast, it could be through anything, whichever you're comfortable with, and it could be about anything. It doesn't have to, be about history and physics. It could be anything. So these three things I would say, if we follow, career, lifestyle, money, everything is very well taken care of. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Varun Jain, please give it up for him. Absolutely fantastic words. So I'd like to conclude that in a world that's changing faster than ever, the greatest gift we can give the next generation is not just knowledge, but confidence, clarity, and curiosity. Platforms like a learning lab aren't just preparing students for careers, but they're preparing them for impact. Let's keep empowering young minds to lead not just with resumes, but with purpose. My name is Sophia Anjum. Have a great day, and thank you very much.